Coming in, as we were talking about China, let's also discuss their relation with the United States and them not participating in the upcoming G20 summit that is slated to happen here in India. Now, China has the option to come in and play the role of a spoiler. That's the word coming in from the US regarding the G20 summit. They said that, but India, the US and other members are going to encourage it to set aside all the geopolitical questions and play a constructive role. The US also expects Russia to maintain its position on Ukraine at the summit. The US is committed to the G20 and will push for reform of multilateral development banks. The US is also looking forward to welcoming the African Union as a permanent member of the bloc. Human rights in India may come up in Biden's conversation as well. So that's the big word coming in that we have coming in from the US as far as the relation between US and China is concerned. They have given out a word for China that China has an option to come in and play the role of a spoiler. Let's listen in to what exactly did they say.
As far as the question of tensions between India and China affecting the summit, really that's up to China. If China wants to come in and play the role of spoiler, of course that option is available to them. What I think the chair, India, will encourage them to do, what we, the United States, and every other member, virtually every other member of the G20 will do, is encourage them to come in a constructive way on climate, on multilateral development bank reform, on debt relief, on technology, and set aside the geopolitical questions and really focus on problem solving and delivering for the developing countries.
I have CNN News 18's Abhishek Jha joining me on the broadcast. Abhishek, a very good morning to you. Abhishek, could that be seen as a stern message coming in from the US as far as their strained relations with China is concerned? Because what we know is that US time and again has tried to have a bilateral with China, but they failed to do so.
Of course, it looks like the US President Biden is a bit disappointed, as he has also said in the past that President Xi is not coming to Delhi, and probably US was looking for a small window of opportunity where the two leaders could have met and engaged on several bilateral issues, especially in the wake of the recent downslide that the US-China bilateral issue has seen in the wake of Taiwan crisis or trade and commerce tariffs between the two nations, and also the US sanctions or ban or probably the curbing of sensitive investment in the sensitive sectors in China, and sort of shutting down the Chinese import of several components of communication components. So these have been the problem areas of India, of US-China relationship, and the leaders may have wanted to have a conversation on that. Having said that, now we know that Chinese economy is one of the most powerful in the world right now. There is a huge dependence of global supply chain on China. If the world is talking about energy transition and climate change, China has to be essentially the part and main component of the whole negotiation, because 90% or 80 to 90% of electronic vehicle batteries and essential components are manufactured in China. So in that context, it becomes really important that China remains at the negotiation tables of many multilateral platforms on key global concerns. And if Chinese side is not coming, or probably President Xi Jinping is being replaced by his Premier Li Qiang, if China wants to leverage this whole G20 multilateral forum as something that it wants to hard negotiate with the world, this is what US side has said is not going to be like that, because if China wants to play a spoiler at G20, it will not be okay. And there are so many areas of common challenges and common concerns that the world leaders need to sit together, talk it out, and discuss threadbare. And probably President Xi Jinping's arrival in Delhi could have allowed the other leaders to gather together and discuss more decisively on the issues of common concerns.
Well, Abhishek, thank you so much for bringing in all those crucial developments about US's word coming in on China's non-participation, Russia-Ukraine conflict, as well as inclusion of the South African Union.